more. We have 3 minutes more if you want.
Go on then.
How you know that you meet the pilot in a bar?
I don't know.
No worries, he will tell you.
Oh, true. It's true. It'd be even if it was a vegan pilot in a bar, you would know both.
Yeah. Okay.
We better stop there, Jos, before
Let me just tell you,
going.
the vegans have started commenting. No, let's stop. We have an Atos pilot, Volkmar Voink. Atos pilot with a blade here from Bavaria.
Oh, great.
Not the paraglider pilots, which is great.
What's Pete Logan said? Badum cha. What
Well,
does
it's
that
a
mean?
joke. It's like ching.
Ah, is that a Northern English drum roll sort of thing?
I'm not sure. I think
Badum cha. I got it. I've got it. Sorry, it's the way you say it. Do you get it, Jost?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm late. I'm the one who doesn't get it. Fair enough.
People arriving, which is great.
What
does that mean?
What?
I don't know. I think we've gone off on a real tangent. We need to bring it back. Here we go. Hello, everyone. Greetings from Portugal. Hello, Fabio Vicente.
Right. I'll kick off in a sec, I guess. Hello, Roberto. I think Roberto's been to every single one of these we've done.
He's a very, very good pilot, isn't he?
He is.
Roberto.
Yes, for sure. He says, I am a very good pilot. We know you didn't mean that, Roberto. We know you didn't mean that. Not really.
Hello, Yaki from Finland.
He's humble too.
Oh, how is that up there in the cold of Finland? Hello from Yorkshire.
Yeah.
Of course, we know you did, Roberto.
Okay, let's get started. So welcome everyone to this very, very exciting masterclass with Cross Country Magazine, put on with the fantastic support of our subscribers who are the most intelligent pilots in the world, full stop. Welcome. Today we have Jost Napret, who, is that, if I said that right, Jost? Jost Napret, close enough. Jost set a new world out and return record of over 300 kilometers with two of his friends in 2018. He's going to be talking about that. And then he's going to be helping us all with our planning and flying for next year by talking us through ways we can use instruments and technology to our advantage. And we reviewed the CU Navigator app in our current issue. So this is a good time to do that. So the first 15 minutes will be us talking about the record. Then we'll go into 15-20 minutes of navigation and flying technology and how it can help us, and then we'll be taking questions, I guess. Have I said everything I need to say? I think I have. Jost. Yeah. So ask questions in the chat. Ed will be monitoring those, and we'll come to them at the end if that's okay. So yeah, and we're doing a discount. Naviter have kindly given us 30% off. So any cross country readers, if you want to get the CU package, it's 30% off. Ed will stick the details in the chat, but it's yeah, that's quite a good deal, isn't it? Okay, Jost, over to you.
Okay, may I start right away?
You may, please do.
Good evening, lovely people. I will tell you a bit today, as Hugh mentioned, about our world record attack in Solica, and let's start with the story. So how it all started. This picture is taken somewhere in 1919, and 300 was definitely a long time in the making. There were a few milestones before the 300, first 50, first 100, 200, 250 kilometer flights. And actually, since Solica Planina ski resort is in Slovenia, is actually our playground. In Slovenia, everything is within 1 hour. So it's very easy to come up there and even to waste the day if the weather is not good. If Hollywood has a Walk of Fame, Solica definitely has one as well. And there were quite some attacks before our 300 flight. My teammate in free flight, in 300 record flight, Primo Susha with 6 records, Marko Novak, Slovenian legend, Marley with 4. Then Nicole Fudel, woman, still holding the current world record on Sorica. Then famous Valic brothers, 777 designers with 3 of records. Then other Slovenians with 1, like Klemen Pehan, Tomaš Eržen, Gašper Prevc, Sergej Čujec, and also Brad Geneve, who lives on Sorica. Actually, he have 2 tandem records, I think. And one of the legends of Sorica, Arduino Persello, our Italian friend, who also had a 290 out and return record before we took it from him somehow. And yeah, definitely Sorica is the place with one of the most world records in the world. How much Sorica is different comparing to the rest of the flights in Alps, I will tell a bit later, but regular day on Sorica looks like this. You wake up early, so you are at takeoff on top around AM, then you drive to Sorica ski resort, hike up for 300 verticals with 40 kilo of heavy duty equipment, prepare to the takeoff as soon as you can, and as we say in cycling, shut up, look down and pedal. On Sorica we just changed the last 2 words with shut up, push the bar and fly all day long. So to give you a bit of perspective on the flight, it all looks like this. We are located in the southeast part of the Alp. Here is our lovely chicken named Slovenia. This is Socha Valley. Most of you, maybe you know the place already. We fly a lot here. It's a very famous place. So that's the Sorica, home mountains, and then you go over Gemona, deep into the Italy, actually into the Dolomites. Marmolada is here, for example. And actually on the whole route, there are 3 milestones or place of return or no return, if you want to say so. And the first one is a Mousetrap Pass. Official name is Servi for Seladica Serata, about the artificial lake Lago di Cazur. That place is interesting because why it has a nickname Mousetrap, because you have a strong east wind coming into that from the east side of the saddle. You can go on the west side, but often you cannot come back. And since regular flying days on Sorica, we fly very low on the level of the ridge. For example, this photo was taken from the record flight, so it's not relevant, but it's regularly there. And actually, if you come on the other end, you maybe will not be able to come back. And the only option to land there is a river canyon, which is dry usually, or you will land somewhere on the trees. So some pilots were like the one I was listing before were flying there and bombing out there before we extended the flight towards the 250 kilometers. And it was quite an adventure to come out because there is nothing, no phone signal, even GPS. You will have luck if they find you by GPS. So then after the Mousetrap, these 2 guys are the Valic brothers. The right of these 2 actually is Urban Valic, and quite back in 2011, I think, he was the first one to extend the flight over Longarone. So if I give you a bit of overview, that's the Mousetrap part, that's the artificial lake Lago di Cazul. Here is Longarone, and here is the massif of Monte Talvena. And Urban actually, he landed here because of the shower and overcasting. He was on the ground for 40 minutes, hiking up, and then flew back home. And yeah, I mean, after that, we were a long time struggling. That's Monte Talvena from the record flight. Again, this is how it looks like from the top. And after that, Urban's flight, it took like 7 years. We were 50 plus times on the hill with Primoz and with the other guys, of course. And 1 year we were there on the waypoint coming back home and bombed out in Tolmin. And sorry. And actually that's the third point of no return, because you have done everything, or and then two fails happens. Either you fly too slow, or you come back to Slovenia, you are too late, or you have a big shadow in that area of Socha Valley, and actually bomb out in Socha Valley. And yeah, that day was completely different to what we are used to fly on the Sorica. If we say that normally you fly on the level of the ridge, pushing hard, struggling deep around every corner, that day we were hiking up with Primoz around 7:30 up to the ski resort with a lot of snow. I will show you on the video later. And there was actually the wind blowing down, and we were not sure if this is the west wind already came in. What happens sometimes that even if it's not forecasted, it comes in, or these are the actual thermals. And it turned out that these were the thermals, and this is how these thermals were looking like. So that's the catching the first wear point, progressing to the route. And here on the right, you can still see a lot of snow in the mountains, on the north sides of the mountains. Then, if I give you a bit overview again, so we took off on Sorica, then we crossed all the home mountains like this. And I need to say, on that day, the views were amazing. So like first thermals in the morning, the sweet sound of the and as you progress through the route, then you still like the best thing, every corner you cruise, the new view is open to you. And then when you finally come back somewhere far in the Italy, I mean, when you progress far into the Italy, that's Monte Talvena, a big massif, which was always a tricky one to cross. First for Urban back in 2019, then for all of us, we were there, even Arduino, Primoz, we had the big problems to come over here and then back. And that record day was definitely different. I was able to go super high here, catching the waypoint below Agordo city. It's Agordino Valley. You see here is the Marmolada wall. Actually, you can see the view from the top. And that's how it looks like. So, I need to admit here one thing, which is definitely important, that when it's going for real, you don't have a time to make a quality videos. So that time you need to focus on the flying, and it's in that stress moment you don't have a time to catching up with the camera and all the production for the sponsors. Flying back home. Earlier, maybe I forgot to mention two things, and actually the first one is like on Solica. We fly more in the morning with the east wind, so the wind is pushing you, and on the second half of the day we are looking for the wind changing the direction to the west, so on the way back you are facing the west sides, and that helps you to keep higher average speed. And that's a bit different comparing to the other big FA triangles in the Alps, where you actually cross the terrain in a circle shape. Here you can cross much longer shape, but comparing to the good day on the Alpholz, here we normally fly 2,000 meters lower. So basically around 2,000, between 1,500 to 2,000 on the height of the ridge. And since competition is in our nature, at the end we couldn't help ourselves, and we were actually fighting for the glory record in competitions. To the leading points we say the glory points. Here is the glory record, the speed record, because 4 of us we were flying together, but only the fastest. So all 4 of us got the distance record, but only the fastest one gets average speed record over the 300 triangle out and return course. And even in this video, maybe it will look a bit calm, but actually this was already an intense battle for the top position. So that you are on for the top position, that you were able to push full bar to the Solica village to be the first one on the beer actually. And yeah, that's briefly about it. These are heavy bases. About after 9 hours of flying, I can say that we have done proper analysis at that time, and definitely like this paragliding becomes a sport.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jos. That's really, really inspiring. And I mean, just 300 kilometers out and return is just stunning. So yeah, congratulations. I've got loads of questions, but I'm not going to ask them. I'm going to pace myself. We're going to move on because I know you like your plan, execute, review. I'm going to follow that methodology. Okay. So we're going to go on to the next section, which is around how to use technology to help us with our flying. I'm a complete idiot with technology, so I am all ears. Tell us your tricks, Jos. Over to you.
I mean, I'm actually completely the idiot for the technology as well. Whenever we speak about the tech things here in the company, I can just tell the things from practical point of view. And of course, over the years, I have learned a bit of technical background, but still just the basic things. So I am always dealing just the user experience actually, and never really with the technical details. For me, just the results are important, so that in flight I get what I want to. One thing, actually, speaking about technology, one thing I see through the daily work of technical support here at the Naviter is that most of incomers to the sport, or let's say leisure recreational pilots, are trying to make a revolution at this point. But in fact, this is an evolution based on 30 plus years of experiences. So, and as a pilot, I was always saying, use technology, so flight instruments, all the planning and analysis softwares as a tools which helps you to become a better pilot. And in flight, they help you to make better decisions. But don't trust the technology 100%. You still need to have that feeling, that skills which comes with the flying hours. And speaking about the flying hours, if you want to learn to fly fast, be effective, it doesn't matter which level you are, go to fun comps. There you get these skills and more feeling, and fly as much as I can. And yeah, I would like to show you there is studying the books. There is the Bible of soaring flying from author George Moffat, Winning on the Wind. That's actually a must read for any soaring pilot. Now, doesn't matter you fly a hang glider, Atos, sailplane, paraglider, speedwing, whatever it's going up on the thermal. This pilot needs to read that book, I think. So it's how to use technologies. Actually, the constant loop of planning, executing the thing, analyzing, learning, sharing. And more you fly, more you repeat this loop at home, in flight, after flight, then your personal goals or the records or whatever achievements will be just a side effect of this happening. So planning the task route, definitely you need to have a goal. Once you have a goal, it's nice to get all the input data from anywhere you can get. So basically the old flights from X contest, DHV page, XC Globe Slovenian one has a good base of it. Then also gliding OLC could be interesting to find out some new tricks, how sailplane pilots are doing the things. Then design the desired tasks and different combinations for the same day. So you are flexible depending on the weather conditions. You can still change your mind on the takeoff. And what you need to have is definitely a side plan. So the time plan, when to turn, at what point you need to be, at what time, that your goal is still achievable or not. And basically all the planning is all the planning is a copy-paste principle. Whoop. I need to log in again. And speaking about that, I will take one flight example from 2019. That's the day when I bombed out in the middle of the Julian Alps. So you see the previous flight. I mean, and I bombed about here on 4 meters of snow. Primoz and Bojan Susha actually completed the tasks, and I was so angry because the original idea was mine that I was actually so motivated to make it better. And that's a good example of how to make it better. So the original idea was taking off on Krvavec ski resort, progressing up to, sorry, it's working a bit slow now because of the screen sharing. So like this. And then at that time we were turning here in the Socha Valley basically, but I wanted to make it longer. So I went till the end, all the way back, and we extended it till here, coming back home. So actually from 200, we have made almost 250 and something. And yeah, and then the week after I went to flight. So, and that's actually the principle on how to improve, how to copy, how to take the previous from flight and add your own idea to it, so you make it longer, better to achieve the desired goal. So that would be about the planning. Coming to the instrument, in-flight navigation, executing. The basic rule is, and the most important one, keep it simple. It's simply because in the air we are able to process a really limited amount of data in the stress situations. We want to hear it or not. During the flying, we are under stress. And if you have screen full of some data, you will never be able to understand what is going on with the instrument, what you are seeing, what you are doing, and it's just a mess. So reduce it to minimum. That's my first recommendation. And have a logic behind the layout. And the logic is actually that you have the things which are somehow aligned together in the similar places. I will show you later one good example. In basic, in really the base, you need 6 now boxes, 6 data fields. The time, then the altitude, ground speed, where do I need to go, so steering course or go to, so you don't get lost in the space, and to see if you can reach or not a certain point, current versus required glide ratio. I intentionally left out the arrival altitudes here because these numbers are including a lot of different factors and may be misleading for your decisions to go into the glide at a certain point or not. With comparison of current versus required glide ratio, you are always on the safe side. So the number you see, it's a real one. As a practical example, for sure, it's much worse of what we think we have. But for the CCC wings, I was always saying, if we have a bit of convergence in front, the glide is around 6.5. For the B wings, I would take it around 5 on full bar for the final glide. That's a good approximation to observe when you're on the glide, how good or how bad you are doing. That's a sample screen, my personal one. So the time on the top, Vario information. I don't use Vario symbol personally because I hear enough from the sound itself. And then, as I said before, by the groups align the things like distance to the point, task distance, so task remaining distance, arrival altitude to the point, comparing aligned with the task arrival altitude, and then the glide ratios, which are the most important ones. Don't take it as a must-have, but it's just a practical example. One thing which lately came up, and it's also very important to have, it's sorry. It's setting up the required data sets. So the base map or map layers. So the terrain map is definitely very useful in the Alps for the Alpen flying, but maybe in flatlands like Brazil, you will feel more comfortable with the live map type. At some, by personal preference, they even fly without it. Then the second very important, let's say, set of the data or the map layer are the waypoints. In CU Navigator or on the Audi are now automatically synced from the CU Cloud, so everything is working seamlessly. What you plan there, you see here, and the opposite actually. And of course, the suitable polar data for your wing, and you can basically select from the wide base of the polars data. So yeah, that would be briefly about the instrument. I intentionally didn't include here the analysis part because I suppose it will be included in questions from you guys.
Well, it's funny you should say that, Jos. So yeah, I've got a few questions myself because I'm selfish, and why not take advantage of my position? So, but hopefully they're of interest to everyone. So, as a bit of a Luddite, an inexperienced person in using this technology, I've always used XC app and XC planner before that. Can you tell me more about CU and what you can do with it when planning the route?
I mean, XC planner is just one feature in CU, so just the planner. CU is much more than that. CU is a learning tool. It's a logbook, as I mentioned earlier, seamlessly working with your flying device. So basically, XC planner is one feature of CU, and the CU is a whole package of the learning tool you need for basically for everything, for basically the learning, the tool you need to achieve your goals in one package.
Mm-hmm. And can you show us how looking at thermal hotspots and good routes kind of works? How would someone do that, like to plan their route
in CU?
However you do it, using whatever CU or anything else.
So yeah, I mean in the CU you see like this is KK7 database, and you can nicely select the hotspots. Actually, one fun effect here is what I like the most. This is a wide database. I believe the heat map is taken from the X contest IGC files database. And what is interesting here that the weather doesn't affect at all. So let's say when I was explaining earlier about getting as much data as possible to plan your desired task, basically this already includes what you need. So wherever the people were already flying, you see these single thermals, for example, like here in the back, marked as a single dots. And if you have a bit of let's say idea, or if you are a bit motivated to find out how to connect them, you can nicely connect them to one common task. And the best thing here is it is already including all the weather, because with paragliders we basically fly with no wind conditions comparing to the gliding, and we need to have I mean, let's say okay, up to 10 meters per second. In some extremes in Brazil is different, and when we have condition to go on the specific terrain, we go in a good weather. So the weather really doesn't matter as long as you have just thermals there. And this is what you see when you fly there, not before. But definitely on the flights 200 and plus kilometers, Brazil is a good example, the records over there. With the sky side, you can nicely plan your routes with the convergence lines. So when it's going for really the long ones, if we go to Brazil.
If only we could.
So Caicos should be somewhere here. But yeah, I mean, you can see that lines, And in the morning,
wow.
Like I was there in 2019 with Aran Dorogati and Primos. And we were nicely planning. I mean, we didn't have the best weather, but we were nicely planning the daily tasks on that convergences.
Can you just explain what the convergence is on here? Just.
I mean, in the basics, the convergence is a place where the two air masses are hitting together. Either on the big picture, this can be the weather changes, like on the let's say on the local level, this can be just like the thermal wind coming in, and let's say from the other direction some kind of general wind, and there you get a long line where everything is going up actually. And surprisingly how these lines in SkySight forecast are actually working. So when we were designing, and even at that time I had an OD4, so in the morning I was uploading the offline weather on the device, and in the flight actually wherever you went the thing was working. And it was just like insignificant difference on 400 kilometers. If you go 5-10 kilometers left or right, it doesn't make any difference, but it makes a massive difference of how fast you can fly if you go by the convergence lines.
And looking at the colors on this screen, the green and the yellow, yes. Can you show where that? So if we go up, maybe go up to northeast Brazil, can we see any of the lines or?
Yeah, like this one here, this one. This can be even like when you have a super good cloud streets, like super good thermal conditions, you can actually see the cloud streets here. It's a forecast, it's a prediction, but still in real life, for the long flights, it's working super good. I would say like everything up to 100-200 kilometers, it doesn't really matter. But when you go for more, then it's becoming really useful. One thing which is actually a very good one in flight, it's a wind direction and strength. So on the OD that looks like, let's say, top Meteor or SkySight. Let's see if it will load now. How good internet I have here. So the wind, let's see how quickly it will load. Normally it's better you preload at home, so it doesn't happen in flight. But yeah, so I will show you later if it shows.
Yeah, okay. So it builds in SkySight weather forecast information and also the thermal hotspots and kind of highways from previous data from XC contest.
Yes, exactly.
You've got both things to look at when you're doing your planning.
Yes, exactly.
Got it.
But it's somehow you always need to combine what you were planning on and then how the day in reality looks like.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about what would be sort of good things for pilots to practice with CU over the winter? You know, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, we've got a few months now to hang in our harnesses in the garage and fiddle with our instruments.
So we have, if may I show you? So this is the beta application. This is why you didn't load it before. But yeah, this is how the wind looks like. So on the map in flight. And yeah, maybe if you are on the unknown terrain, or if you were lazy to check up for the weather in the morning, you turn it on in flight, and basically you have all the data from wind in flight on board. And that's very helpful to make better decisions.
I guess especially if you're trying to fly a long way, if you can see that a sea breeze is coming in or something's happening ahead, it'll help you plan your route.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
Sorry, so jumping to your questions, what to practice? I would say set your personal goal goals for the next year and plan your flights for the beginning. Maybe you read first the book, Winning on the Wind, and then just start planning in CU. Like experiment with the options, experiment within your performance.
I have a question there, Jost. Yes. Boris is just asking, what altitude is the wind you're showing us? The wind arrows.
This one is showing the wind from the forecast. So the SkySight and Top Meteor, they have 300 meters wind layers per altitude. So it changes every 300 meters, and it's always showing on your current altitude. So yeah,
cool. I've got a few more questions from the chat if we want to go through those.
why not?
Or Hugh, have you got more to chat about?
I've got a couple more. If we go through mine, and then there might be others at the end. Is that okay? Because Jos has spent ages.
I mean, yeah,
that's fine. We have a lot of questions from the chat though. People are really
I bet.
Yeah, go for it.
It's going to be a long evening.
Come in. I'll mute myself. Just unmute me when we're ready.
So you said goals. Set your goals.
Yeah, just set your goal and try to execute them later. But first of all, just set your goals and make the plans.
Okay.
Make the plans.
Okay, got it. And can you tell us a bit more about any of the sort of advanced navigation with these tools that it enables? What sort of tricks am I missing by using my basic equipment?
So we are speaking about the cross-country flying, about the flights which normally longer than 1 hour, let's say, or when you really go cross country from one point to another. And definitely when you go for this, you want to have a good map. So if I show you on that ODN now, our new device, definitely it has the best maps in the business. Then the second thing worth to mention is it's seamlessly online. I forgot to mention earlier rain radar. It's updating. You have a rain radar layer, which is updating every 10 or 15 minutes. And sometimes when you see like here in Kran, we still have some snowfall here in Slovenia today. And it's actually nice to see in the air what is actually happening with the rain. For example, this year on Naviter Open in Socha Valley, we had showers every 2 days. And when you are looking from the below that big clouds on the north sides of the ridge, you are never sure what is really going on. And I simply turned on the rain radar at that time. You already see even if there is not the rain below, you see the strong clouds going up or not. And actually, from this data, we were able to take good decision to continue the task and when to stop it, and it's still safe. So it's also a matter of safety. Then speaking seamlessly online, the thermal hotspots. So I found it the most useful even in the home place when you know where to go. If you go by the feeling, you know where is the thermal. You will miss it. If you do 10 tries, like you will fail 7 times by the feeling, but when you go by the map, you will do it 9 times out from 10. It's really surprisingly because by feeling we always look somewhere in the front, especially in the pod harnesses. But when you go by map, really by go-to, you hit it to the core immediately, and you don't lose time with thermalink, so you fly faster. Then I showed the wind forecasts, and the best thing which I found out lately is after the landing, the flight is already waiting for you at the CO clouds in the logbook. So nothing needed to do. All you need to do is just to upload it somewhere if you want to.
Jos, you're kind of ruining the poetry of flying for me here. Can't fly by feel. You got to follow the map. I mean, is this all learning from sort of glider pilots and high performance? Because Naviter's kind of been involved with gliding for a long time. Are you kind of bringing that approach and that technology in?
I would say, I mean, I can say personally. So I have that luck or bad luck, how it takes, that I can compare a lot with the mentality of the gliding pilots, which I need to say the things are looking very similar. We would say, okay, just the aircraft device is different, but in reality, the mentally and physically, the sports are completely different. Just like we judge performance factor, it's 1 per 5. Let's say ratio, it's 1 to 5, I think. So paragliding to gliding. So in general, they have 5 times better performance. But still, what I like the most from glider pilots, and I think that's the biggest mistake we are doing in paragliding, paragliding it's a freestyle sport, and we approach in a freestyle way. But in fact, it's aviation, and if you approach with the aviation philosophy, like gliding, for example, at the first place you will fly safer, and the second place you will perform better, definitely.
Got it. I remember hearing you in Saint-Hilaire saying that you talked to a test pilot of your wing, and they'd never tested your wing at full speed collapses. So. Apart from that, yeah, I'd agree with your philosophy. Ed, should we jump in with some of your questions? I know there've been lots of really good ones around the tech. So
yes, for sure. Should I just start at the top? The first questions. Just to jump back to the 300k out and return.
Yes. Yeah.
What was the general altitude for this flight?
Yeah. Sorry if I didn't mention. Like the highest we've been at that flight was around 2,800, but for sure it was 500 meters higher than normally, because normally we were flying on the level of the ridge. This time we went a bit higher, so let's say, I would say like 300 to 500 meters higher than normally. As you could see from the videos, we were,
okay. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, we were higher than normally, definitely.
Okay, I hope that answered your question, Claudia. James asked, what was your instrument layout and screens? I think you showed us that, but what part of the season were you flying? What was the month? Actually,
we were flying in early spring, because after the failure in 1 year earlier in 2017, we said with Primož, okay, we attack the first day, what is possible next year, and that was April. What is a bit controversial, because Sorica, we were always saying, okay, we need a long day, we go in, let's say in summer months, so May, June, July, August. Yeah, but since we were so motivated to make it as first ones, that 300 out and return, we said, okay, first day comes, and it was April, 21st of April, 2015.
And just very briefly on that instrument layout, what were you? I think he means actually, what were your instruments? What instruments did you have on that flight?
On that flight, I was flying like, I can show you from the videos from Primož. We were both having 2 Odys. And I think where it's nicely visible on the screen, you can see 2 Odys here.
Yeah.
Why we use 2 Odys? Yeah, first thing, we both work at Naviter, and it's easier to effort them. And then the second thing, it's really nice to have 2 devices with a similar screen layout, but on one with zooming to the smaller details, so the map wise, and on the one you have a bigger picture, so the overview of a complete task.
Okay.
Or a bigger area. So yeah, you have better overview on the things. This is what, for example, you can see that also on the competitions now. A lot of pilots having 2 or 3 devices. Okay, on competition, of course, because also because of the backups, but still, for being to use them in practical way. One, for example, it's is zooming to the target, and then on the one you have complete overview of the task.
Cool. Thomas Krieger asks also about the 300k flight. He says, this summer I flew from Meduno,
yeah,
Gemona, and back, and his Audi 5 Pro was concerned about him being very close to airspace. So how do you get around the airspace in the Gemona area? You can be brief.
Yeah. As far as I know, there is just few small airspaces for the birds. So like national reservoirs or something.
Okay.
And Meduno is much lower than the Gemona. You fly up there in the hills.
Okay, cool. Actually, there's an add-on question. How do you keep 2 or more instruments running for 9 to 10 hours?
I mean, simply, you can see on the video, you just turn them on and you fly. It's
So
we advertise battery autonomy of 15 hours. So
okay.
if you fly 9.5 hours, then you still have five to go.
Still got charge for next day. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. What Michael asks, what weather forecast model is best used?
I need to be a political here because we work with different weather providers. So what we support in our software is SkySight and Top Meteo. For the wind, both are okay. I can't say which one works better or worse. In Brazil, specifically for potential flying distance, I was using SkySight. As a personal reference, I would take SkySight, but otherwise, what works better for you? Okay. And with SkySight, we can show more layers. That's true. We are allowed to show more layers.
Cool. Also a question from Michael. Is CU worth it without an Audi? As I don't fly with an Audi. Is it worth it?
Just CU?
Yeah.
As in software. I mean, I would say try the free version.
Try
like,
the free version.
Like, let's say complete CU package in a free version to not make it wrong. So with CU Navigator, you can basically do everything. And also in CU Cloud, except the weather forecast, where you need to have an active subscription. So for the CU and for the forecasts, but you will always see the latest planned task, the latest flown flight, and it's a good alternative to the flying computer. I would say for the starter, it's working perfectly. If somebody would like to test full functionality, we are also open to make like 1 or 2 months free CU subscriptions. Just send an email to support@naviter.com and I will be happy to create it manually. So you can try the full system.
Okay.
This is a Michael. Be careful. This is a classic drug dealer move. First one for free.
Yeah. But
watching you, Jost.
Yeah, drug dealer move. A good one.
I think I've realized I need to sort of upgrade. Volkmar asks. Actually, he says I can only recommend the Audi Blade and SkySight combination. For me, wave flying and SkySight's forecasting and Naviter integration is unbeatable. So that's a guy who flies a Atos, a rigid wing, and he's saying he loves it. His question for Jost is there an ETA, estimated time of arrival, for the Android upgrade for the Blade platform?
I need to be political here, sorry. We are not keen to give promises. Our full focus is on the ODN for gliding, then of course free flight version with FunIt Plus, and then we need to see where the development will take us, how much time it will take. But the Blade 2 on the ODN platform is definitely in plan. It will not get missed. We just cannot promise when.
Okay, a similar sort of when's it coming question, which you just touched on, Thomas Krieger. When will Naviter deploy the Audi N with Flam?
Basically, we are working on the software part. So we are happy with the software. We launch it. It's expected to be a matter of weeks.
Weeks?
Yeah.
Matter of weeks. Well, that's
yeah.
Good news. That's a scoop. It's coming very soon.
This is expected. So, but still, I mean, if you want to be on the list of one of the first to know, send an email. We will put you on the emailing list. Okay. Support@naviter.com is the right point of contact.
Support@naviter.com. We'll put that in the chat.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, go for it.
Okay, so there are some brands that pride themselves on their sensitivity in climb. Does Naviter have the same kind of sensitivity? I mean, the UD I use was quite old, so it may not be. It wasn't as sensitive as another brand. But what's the latest one like?
I mean, the ODN has the same sensors like OD4 or OD5. Even the speaker is the same. if we compare, like speaking about the sensitivity comparing to the other instruments or varios, I would say like this. Vario sound itself, it's a very delicate thing. So if it responds earlier, it doesn't matter that is a good thing, because it may be just a noise while filtering the vario data. What is the important thing is that you have a nice vario sound through all the range. So from 0 to 10 meters, and that the responsiveness of the vario is really good between the 0 up to 1 meter. Why? Because you are winning the things, doesn't matter your personal best or no bump out to win the world championship on weekdays, in week thermals, when it's make it or not to make it. So sensitivity is, speaking about sensitivity, I would say all modern devices are somewhere there. If you want to make competition, which vario will respond faster, that's easy to do. But the question is how much it's usable in real flight. Here, at this point, I need to say that here we can rely on, let's say, 8 years of experiences with, or even other experiences from before, but still a lot of flying with the OD3, 4, 5 from basically all the world's top pilots. They all switch to the OD vario, and ODN has the same one.
I remember trying to help Russ Ogden with his when he got his in about 5 years ago.
Yeah. And now, since you mentioned Russ, he don't want to give away his OD4.
Or he doesn't.
He just sent it back to retrofit, but he's fully happy with the OD4 still, and a lot of such examples.
Great.
Okay. You have any more follow-up questions to that, Hugh? Or
yeah. Do you want to go through a couple more pilot questions?
I just want to try and get everyone's question done.
Yeah.
This is from Paul Hogan. He just jumped the queue. What are the Audi N key features over and above those of the Navigator app?
Basically, we don't want to make the difference between both applications, let's say. But ODN is a seamless device, so large battery, super sharp screen, which you will not get on any other phone. But like feature-wise, from software point of view, there is no difference, except at this very moment, you can put offline maps on the ODN, and you will be also able to use offline maps later in the CO Navigator. So just at this moment, that's the only difference. So if you have subscription, everything is working the same on both platforms, let's say.
Okay. And Michael has the same question, but the Audi N versus the older Audis.
That's actually irrelevant to compare, because the Audi N was designed from the scratch. So hardware-wise, it's running Android. It has much brighter, sharper, better display, larger battery, it's faster. So hardware-wise, it's the whole new level. Software-wise, we are spending a lot of time by listening to our customers and then designing the UI, which is really solving the pilot's problem. And it's much, much, much easier to use because of that.
Cool. Martin has a question, same thing, comparing the N with the 5. Do you get the actual wind readings from ground stations with Fanet on the Audi N like it was on the Audi 5?
Yes, for sure we will implement that. There is no Fanet Plus implementation without that. I cannot just promise if this will be the first software release. Maybe it will be later, but definitely.
Okay. Is it possible, this is from Paul Hogan again, is it possible, he's very interested, Paul Hogan, in this device. Is it possible to link the Navigator app running on an iPhone to an OGN account, Open Glider Network?
Actually, not yet. Not yet. Thanks for the vote on this feature.
Okay. Wendy Weaver is coming in. I think she's from the States. Can this be used for paramotor pilots? She's a paramotor pilot. She's tried quite a few apps, but she wants to learn more about the benefits of using software and instruments. Have you tried paramotor flying?
Actually, I have done once.
Yeah.
A long time ago, when I was working with 777 guys at the very beginnings. But like for sure, software-wise, it will the CEO Navigator app will do everything for. I mean everything. The navigation part will be done perfectly for paramotor flying. What's definitely not supported is reading the sensors from the engine and the fuel level and such things which are needed for paramotor flying.
So it doesn't.
If you can live with that limitations, it works perfectly.
Yeah, but for navigation and getting around the sky and avoiding airspace, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect. I mean, it was made for that anyway.
It's made for that, Wendy.
Yeah.
And Anjan asks, I think she's referring to when we were looking at the map and looking at the thermal hotspots. Can I see other pilots on the map? Is it possible to see live thermals like Burnair app does?
Yeah, when the FANET will be implemented, of course, but it's possible even with OGN layer, so Open Glider Network, on the phone or on the OGN already. You just need to be connected to the internet.
Okay, cool.
So answer is yes, obviously.
The answer is yes. I've sort of run out of questions that I have taken note of. Unless anyone has questions who are watching, you just want to fire one in now. The floor is free. Yes.
I'd like you to have a look through and try and pick the best question. And the best question that's come up, I'm going to give my Udi to the person who's asked the best question. My beloved Udi. If you live in Europe, it may be problematic because there are quite a few idiots in my country who've made shipping to Europe quite difficult. I apologize for that. Sorry about being political. But if you live, well, I'll send it as a gift and it should arrive. Yes. And so just try and pick the best question. Jos, my question for you is, you talked about goals for 2022. What are your goals? Have you got some goals?
My personal ones?
Yeah.
Oh, just to fly a bit more and work less. So if we turn the other way around, be more efficient at work so I can fly more. And I would like to go, a long time we are discussing with friends, we all have now the kind of X-Alps equipment to make a bit of cruising around the Alps. Just starting from the home, out from house, hiking on the first hill, fly, sleep, hike, having beer all week long.
So do you think your long kind of cross-country days are behind you now, or?
Not really. I would say, like, for sure, last year or 2 years I didn't fly a lot of competitions as well. To me personally, competition flying are the best base for being efficient across country. Because if you are able to catch up with the top guys on the comms, definitely when you're on your own for cross country, you can fly fast and you can fly super fast. And when I will going back to competition, because I think I will do some more in the future, then definitely.
Okay, I hate to say it, but I think Sana has just asked the best question. Is there a way to have pubs as waypoints or anywhere that serves cold beer?
Come on, bringing back the poetry into flying. That's what we want.
Yeah.
Oh, he's speechless. I think the answer
you can have beer symbols, maybe.
Do I need to answer that one?
You need to answer that one. We need to work on it, maybe. We need to go on a trip and work on it.
But it's not a bad feature request, actually.
Is it possible? Is it literally possible?
I mean, for sure it's possible to implement. Just the question is from where to take the database. So maybe we can take the pilot's pubs.
The pilot's pubs, it's a good idea.
We have a thing called pub suck, where you gliding along and then I'm not sure it's good for motivation, this.
No. Yeah. Okay. Wake up. hike up the hill, and then remember that you're in Netherlands. Thank you, Martin. Hello, Martin. We have a Finland new goal to the year 2022 is 620 kilometers. Do you think that it is possible in some other country? And I guess, will they be using an Audi when they break the world record?
I need to say that I think yes, but we are not there. So let's say you can see like all the world records in Brazil were done by the locals. The last world record in Texas was done by the local. And you cannot just go to Finland for 3 weeks and fly it, I think. But for sure it has potential. We were once in St. Petersburg where also the day is super long. And I think it's also possible to do something there on such long thermal days. It's more financial question if you can afford it, because definitely you would need helicopter for the trip.
Okay, cool. Hugh, I'm done with questions.
My money's on Martin in the Netherlands for 620. Yeah, Jost, I think we'll probably wrap up there. Thank you very, very much for your time. Thank you everyone for coming to this and asking some great questions. Any last words from you, Jost?
I see the one more question which I need to answer.
Oh yeah.
Will it be possible to import tasks from XTrack users via QR code? That's working already. That's in there. Yeah, I can show you. Just scan the QR code and that's it. Clear task. So this one specifically I can share via QR code. It's here with my buddies, and of course I can scan QR code, and the ODN has a QR code scanner here on the top. So and it works the same in Navigator when installed on the phone. We use a phone camera. Okay.
Great. Well, good luck with your goals, everyone, for 2022. Good luck with your goal, Jost, of working less and flying a bit more. Have we got a winner for the questions, Ed? Who's the Vario going to?
I feel like I should give it to Paul Hogan because he had so many interesting questions and he posted quite a few of them.
But what about Sani with his? He had the. No? Are we being serious?
About the pub question. I think he's left. I'm not sure. No, he said thank you very much. I don't know if we can give it to a joke question like this, can we? If you want, it's your Vario. It's your Vario. You decide.
You decide. Go on. You decide.
Okay.
Paul, it is.
Paul, we're going to give it to you, Paul.
We'll give Sani a runner-up prize or something.
And we'll give Sani a runner-up prize.
I'm afraid, Paul, it's got a few scratches. I've had it for about 6 years, but it's upgraded to the UD5, so you can't go wrong. Brilliant. Okay, we'll wrap up there. Thank you again, everyone, for subscribing and helping us have the best jobs in the world. Happy flights to everyone, and thank you very much, Jost.
You are welcome. Thanks to you for the invitation.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. See you guys. Have a nice winter.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Ciao.
Brilliant.